The January 5th, 2022 Board of Selectmen's meeting to order at 6:30. Mr. Town Manager, do we have a need for a non-public?
We do under RSA 91A3, lowercase c, reputation.
Okay. Before we get started, I want to remind the board to bring these microphones up close. It's hard for people in the audience to hear, and also at home. And these are going to be warrant articles, so we want to make sure we're pretty clear on it. Okay, the first item on the agenda, minutes of December 1st, 2021. Does anybody have any corrections or changes?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
on page 3,
Yep.
on bulk vote, item number 4, at the end of it, there's no motion or second or vote tally on the bulk vote.
So why don't we table these and let's see if the secretary can go back and find that vote? You know, either that or we're going to be making up a vote.
Yeah.
Good catch. Anybody, any others? Okay, so we're going to table the December 1st, and we need a motion on those for the bulk.
So move. Second?
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item is the December 8th, 2021 minutes. Do I have anybody who has any corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay. I'll open up our bond hearings, and I'll read the what was in the Granite State News. A public hearing will be held by the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen as required under RSA 33:8-A and RSA 40:13 at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, January 5th, 2022, to receive comments on the proposed 2022 bond issues over $100,000. So I'm going to open up the first public hearing, and it is on the seasonal water line replacement for $500,000. And Jim, you're going to read that?
Yeah, so we've got a total of 6 bond hearings that we've got to go through this evening. I'll read the article. Dave Ford will discuss the backup, and then we'll go from there. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500,000 for the purpose of replacing existing seasonal water lines with buried mains throughout the water system. Further, to authorize the issuance of $500,000 in bonds or notes for this project in accordance with the provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act. To authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue, negotiate, sell, and deliver such bonds or notes and determine the rate of interest thereon and the maturity and other terms thereof. And to authorize the Board of Selectmen to apply for, obtain, and accept federal, state, and other aid, grant, and donations, if any, which may become available for said project, and that may reduce the amount to bond, and to comply with all laws applicable to said project, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any other action or to pass any other vote thereto. Notwithstanding the general obligation nature of the bond is the intention that this project shall be paid by the Water System Enterprise Fund and will not result in any increase in the tax rate. No tax rate impact. Dave?
Better? Sorry about that. Sorry about that, if anyone at home couldn't hear me. So we're just going over the problem. Again, it was recommended in the asset management plan to do an upgrade. It's a very difficult issue. We have inventoried the system and had a study done. We developed a pilot program and kind of figured out some of the logistics, what some of the problems are. So our action plan for 2022 is, again, to secure this funding so we can go after the most important ones that we've identified, either because of, like, the Albee Beach, it's a town facility, and we have over a couple thousand feet going through a swamp that's kind of a scary issue. The other ones, Waltz Lane, Museum Shores, there's a lot of activity in those neighborhoods, and they have problems. We have problems, so what we'd like to do is get this project approved, work on the engineering in the spring, bid it in the summer, and then have construction in the fall. We also think we've had discussions about how the seasonal water customers would pay a fair share, and we are working on a connection fee when they go from a seasonal water to a year-round water of $3,000 or $1,000 per bedroom. We'd like to bring that to the board with the rate study and look at those impacts, and so that's for further discussion. But I think we're finally making some headway. We're looking at it, you know, it's a long-term plan, but again, we had the details, and I would like to, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is there any public input? I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to move that the Board of Selectmen must approve a connection fee for changing the seasonal water lines to buried water lines prior to any construction taking place. Do I have a second?
Second.
The reason I'm doing it just makes it clear that we're committed to doing that to the voters. Do I have any further discussion or comments from anybody? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. No public input, so I'll close the public hearing. Board members, do any of you have any comments, concerns, questions for Dave? Okay. I need a vote to recommend.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Then I also need a motion to move warrant Article 12, seasonal water line replacement, to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. That public hearing is closed. I'll open up the next public hearing. It is for a bond issue of $700,000 for the purpose of reconstructing and upgrading the Wolfeboro Bay Commercial Docks and Wharf.
Madam Chairman, step down.
Okay, sounds good.
See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $700,000 for the purpose of reconstructing and upgrading the Wolfeboro Bay Commercial Docks and Wharf. Further, to authorize the issuance of $700,000 in bonds or notes for this project in accordance with the provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act, and to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue, negotiate, sell, and deliver such bonds or notes, and to determine the rate of interest thereon and maturity and other terms thereof, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to apply for, obtain, and accept all federal, state, or other aid, if any, which may become available for said project, and to comply with all the laws applicable to said project, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any other action or pass any other vote relative thereon. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 0 per thousand of assessed valuation. 2023, 4 cents per thousand of assessed valuation. And 2024, 3 cents per thousand of assessed valuation. Dave?
Thank you. Again, this is a ongoing problem we've identified about 4 years ago when we did an inventory, kind of an asset management plan. We've been taking the phased approach. The decking has reached the end of its useful life. It's pressure treated, installed in 1999. We've had a lot of complaints about it. We've had some safety issues. This also, when we show the pictures, we are going to expand a small area, an area that's not being used now, so that we can have a drop-off area. There also is walls and other work that is needed to be done after this, but I'd like to show you the picture, so we can go to the next slide. Okay, this is again, our solution in terms of what we've been doing. Done the inventory, we've approved docks A and B, which are now substantially complete, and you can see the lights are on there tonight, and C and D are underway. They should be done shortly, and then the rest will be done, all the we call the residential docks will be done by May. The extensions did not approve, so we're not going forward with any dock extensions. This project this year is what we call the commercial docks, where the Mount Washington and the other boats come in there. It does not include the balance of the seawall as we're going towards the bridge, and it does not include the parking lot, which are separate projects. Our plan is to engineer and permit. We are working on it now. Our hope is to begin construction in the fall of '22 with the hope of being completed by the spring of '23. I think we show some pictures here. This is a good picture showing where the work, this phase would be done. On the outside, to the left, where we have,
Thing has been connected for 2 hours.
reboot that. Oh, there we go. Came right up. A little touchy there. So in hopes that it'll come back here, I'll just keep talking. Keep everyone. Okay, here we go. Mount Washington, underneath is structurally sound. We have to do some reinforcement, but basically it's replacing all the timber piles that are within it and the decking. And underneath, we're doing some structural work. Also, you can see on these pictures where some of the problems we have with broken piles, and you can see the wear and tear, especially on the granite wall and the slab. And that last picture on the bottom right, you see there's some separation. So from the end of the steel fence there out to the point, that section will be rebuilt with this phase. From that picture going back to the bridge, that's going to be a separate phase. Go into the next picture. This is a close-up of showing that area. In this area here, we will actually pull this all apart and rebuild it from the bottom up and get that corrected. And then on the picture here with the existing finger to get a lower level dock, this is kind of a dead spot we have. Here we're going to have a drop-down dock, which will be for pickup and drop-off of food or people, short-term parking and whatnot. We have a permit going in for that work. And again, this is just, again, showing the overall area where the new work will be done and with the ADA ramp. And then this is a cross-section showing how the stones, granite will be pulled apart and restacked on the corner. Next one shows, this would be underneath where the Mount Washington is now, so there'll be docks above, but underneath you can see there's riprap that's going to support the timber cribbing. That'll be all underneath, so there won't be any problem with that interfering with the boats. And then structural upgrade showing to be done on the docks. So again, I think this is the bonding as a 10-year bond, what we felt, and again, this would be part of, again, a long-term plan, and we hope that you have support for this. If any questions, we'll be more happy to answer any questions.
I've got a couple of them. Am I correct that we are going to have a ramp that will make it easy for anybody with handicap to get down to that new lower dock?
Correct.
It's not going to be a handicap dock, but it's going to give accessibility with somebody with disability to come in.
So when we talk about accessibility, there'll be a ramp at a 1 to 12 slope with rails so that they can get down to that point. From the dock into the boat,
Well,
it's a tricky situation, but they will be able to get there in a wheelchair or with the rails and a cane, so that should be accessible there. And there will be other paths that we have, so all the docks will be accessible. So that's part of this also, another ramp that we're going to be working on in a transition, trying to keep the old granite stone we have parking lot to the docks. That's also part of the upgrade.
and are the broken piling, are we taking out all of them, or are we just going to go add new pilings to where the Mount Washington comes in?
Correct. It's going to be a mass piling, so the ones that are broken will be upgraded, but they'll stay there, the ones that are good. So it's kind of a gang pile, so it's almost the mass that's kind of holding it, because we can't get very deep because of the ledges. It's shallow.
Okay. Does anybody in the public want to give any comment? I'll come back. Okay, there's no public input, go ahead.
Dave, just a question. When was the last time this was rebuilt? And do you have any idea when the next time this will have to be completely rebuilt like this? Or now we're going to be on a maintenance plan, so the money will be spread out?
Yeah, excellent question. So it was done 1999. So what we have there, most of the finger docks were done there. There were some upgrades done to the pilings in 2007 and 8. So we're looking about a 20-year useful life for pressure-treated decking. The timbers had to be upgraded because structural code changed. So we feel the structural should last for a good 40 years, and we use the more expensive but longer-lasting IPE wood, hardwood. And our hope is that it'll last 40 years, which is why we went for that. So we're hoping that this structure, barring any major ice or a boat crashing into us, should last for 40 years.
Okay, the last call, is anybody in the public? Yes, Suzanne.
Suzanne Ryan. Could I ask David, when he goes through his articles, the status of any funding you may be getting from the state or federal, where you're at with that? And then the other question on this dock, part that has the newer iron railing put in a few years back, is that going to be dealt with?
No.
Iron railing. Here, street lights are? The picture had that iron railing.
I guess she's asking, are you going to take down any section of the new iron
Go
railing?
back to the pictures. I think I know what you're talking about. That one there, that railing there. That is going to stay. It might have to come out as we rebuild some of the stock, but that's going to stay there. The railing we're talking, that's more decorative railing. The new railing is going to be as access as you walk down to the lower docks, and that'll be the ADA accessible. No, that's going to stay open the way it is. We're not going to put any rails there. Only if we have to get underneath it to put it back in, but we're not going to extend it, we're not going to change it, so the final product will look the way it is now. Correct, back in 2007. Yep. And then your other question, we will have all the funding will be on all the, this project has no special funding. We're looking for a bond, and there are no grants or loans.
Any other comments? Any questions?
And I think it's,
Jim?
just to clarify for Suzanne, from this point where the project ends toward the Smith River, that would be the next phase of the project, but we've got a lot of work to do before we can get to that point because of the navigation channel.
Right, and the original intention was all going to be done underwater from the river. We have more work to do with the permitting on that, so we're going to hold off on that. The more critical work is what we're going to focus on.
Any other comments? All right, I'm going to close that public hearing. Luke, we're done closing that public hearing. All right, I'm going to open up the next public hearing.
You want to vote on that one?
Oh, you're right. Can I have a vote to recommend?
So move. Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All righty, and then I have a motion to warrant Article 13 Dockside Upgrade Phase 3 to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That's a 4-0 vote. All right. I'll open up the next public hearing. It is for $430,290 for the purpose of the Port Wetland Drainage Upgrade.
Okay, so this is going to be one of those articles that's a little complicated because of various funding sources. So there will most likely be some changes to this language as it goes into DRA, and we do have a spreadsheet on this presentation that shows the breakout of funds. For woodland drainage upgrades, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $430,290 for the purpose of securing drainage easements in Port Woodland and constructing an adequate stormwater drainage system. Further, to authorize the issuance of $231,203 in bonds or notes for this project in accordance with the provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act. Further, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept at least $100,000 in donations from the Port Woodland Association for this purpose. Also, to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue, negotiate, sell, and deliver such bonds or notes, and to determine the rate of interest thereon and the maturity and other terms thereof, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to participate in the State Revolving Loan Fund, RSA 486.14, established for the purpose and to allow the Board of Selectmen to accept such monies as become available from the federal and state government, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any action or to pass any other vote related thereto. The town has received New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services American Rescue Act grant in the amount of $199,000. Estimated tax rate impact 2022, 0 per thousand; 2023, 0 per thousand; 2024, 5 cents per thousand of assessed valuation. Dave?
Thank you. So this has been an ongoing project that we've been working on because of the problem with the pollution of Winter Harbor. We don't like to think of that. We'd like to think of ourselves as a nice, cozy little town without any problem. We actually have stormwater pollution that is a problem in Winter Harbor that has created cyanobacteria outbreaks. We are very concerned about that. We started working, and when I first got here, I was like, well, the town of Wolfeboro has right-of-ways, Port Woodland, Winter Harbor. But then at the end, the last 200 feet is a private association. Similar to White Gate Lane, we say, well, not our problem, it's private land, you gotta take care of it. Well, that is not, or was not, a really good position. Since then, we've evolved with our thinking, and we've gone a long ways. We've created the Wolfeboro Waters Committee, and we're studying, and we know that this is a major project that has to get done. It's because of a 100-lot subdivision that was approved in the 70s. Everyone had the right to build a house and a garage and a driveway, and as a result of those increased runoffs, we have the problem. We also have the issue where the Property Owners Association owns the waterfront. So we had to develop a partnership. So we did a sub-watershed study, working with the Property Owner Association and our consultants. We have developed a nice concept plan, and we actually had New Hampshire DES wetlands people out on site to make sure that we could, what we proposed was doable. Then we went forward and applied for the State Revolving Loan Fund and opera grants. So that's all good news, and we did receive some grants we're going to show you in a second. What's left to do is to secure the easements, and we're confident because we've been working with the association. It's a good private-public partnership which the town would commit to building and maintaining the stormwater mitigation project. The association would agree to provide the easement and the financial commitment, we'll talk about in a second. They will remain responsibility for all their property and assets as they have already. The town will only be responsible for the drainage because that's what we do. The schedule would be, we have to go out for a qualification-based selection of the consultant. We're going to start working on that shortly. The idea of permitting engineering in the summer of 2022. We have to have a public hearing on this in the fall. It probably won't go out to bid till this time next year, with construction in 2023. Let's get some pictures now. We can show you where we are. So if people aren't aware, Port Woodland is on the shores of Winter Harbor. Here's a good picture showing the overall road. It is a town road, roads, Winter Haven and Port Woodland. Like I say, at the end, it is a situation where all the runoff is causing the problem. Winter Harbor is unique because you can see it's caught. There's no flushing. So it is more susceptible to stormwater pollution and environmental problems. The next picture. So this is now more focus of the watershed that we're looking at that's doing the most damage. All this water is concentrated into the road right-of-way and forced down the end of Winter Haven Road. That is what overwhelms the system that's there now, creating the erosion and washouts. This is some, unfortunately, pictures from this last year, in which the overflow washes out the beach as a heck of a mess. It's happened 3 or 4 times in the last 10 years. This is the preferred alternative, in which at the end of the town road, which we have adequate drainage, we would then put a new drainage system with the right size pipes, catch basins and drops so we can collect the winter sand. Then we would have a structure that would lower the water down to the water's edge, take the energy out of it and get it into the lake with the intent of capturing all winter sand and any leaf litter up above. Then we also do some betterments in that area so we can have access to it, so we can maintain it long term. The overall project cost, $430,000. Oops. We had that estimate has been done by Underwood Engineers. We just lost our video there, but I have the rest of it here, so I can go. So we did receive 2 grants from the ARPA, the American Resource Recovery Plan. One was $100,000, and another one for $99,087. One's a planning grant, and one is a construction grant, but both of them are going to be used to defray the cost. So the amount that has to be funded by the state revolving loan fund is $231,203. So we're looking at that, I think, of a 10-year period. Now, the other thing that the Port Wetland Association has committed to $100,000 of that loan, so that's going to reduce our costs and them making those payments. That will be tied up in that easement agreement between the town and the association. So the net commitment would be $131,203. Then we have the loan forgiveness, because it does qualify for loan forgiveness, which is another, technically a grant of $23,000. So the net financial cost of the town is just a little over $108,000. $108,000. It's a great project because it is setting a precedent. We are our whole town is based on waterfront. If our waterfront turns green, our property values go down. There's no point. We don't want to be that way. We want to stay ahead of it. We've identified this area as important. I think we are now sharing costs with the association, with the town. This will be set a precedent as we go forward. We look at other associations. We'd like to work with them in upgrades and creating it, whether it's a small BMP or a big one like this. And because of the town was able to apply for the grant, we got a lot of the grant funding. So great project, and I'd be happy to answer any questions on that.
On this one, again, I have a motion just to make sure we're all in agreement, and I move that the Board of Selectmen must approve and sign a financial commitment agreement, a maintenance agreement, and all easements with the Port Wetland Association prior to any construction taking place. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have just one question. Dave, is this going to be, I assume it's going to be easy to maintain going down the road, right?
Correct.
And it's not going to be a burden on your department and be lots of money following it?
So it's an excellent question. What we're looking at is having a Vector truck, a big suction that can suck the sand out of the structures that we're going to use to collect any winter sand. So we do that 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks out of the year right now. So that is, as we continue to build new catch basins and stormwater, we're continuing to grow that cost, which is a maintenance cost. This one particular project, it'll be probably a 1-day cleanup, and it'll be that way every year going forward. And as we've done other ones for other areas, it adds to that overall maintenance. But I think it's money well spent.
Okay, I have one other question. I think that we need to make sure when you say 108.93, that's not a guarantee because we do not know about the loan forgiveness on that. Am I correct?
The New Hampshire DES has told us that we should not put that loan forgiveness in the warrant article because they can't guarantee it. But more than all the years we've been working, they say it comes through. So the loan forgiveness will be there, but we can't say it's guaranteed. So that's why we.
Yeah, and I hate to have Suzanne have 108. If that doesn't come through, that's not going to be the figure.
Well,
so
what we're saying is the figure is 231,203. less the 100,000, so you could say the town commitment would be,
Yeah,
but we're gonna go through this, every one of these projects are gonna have loan forgiveness. So the same question is gonna come for each of the projects.
I mean, this is what it's saying, she came and asked you, and you said 108, but it could be 108, or it could be, 130-something.
No. No, I can tell you, we can't put it legally in the wording. Right now, all the money that they've developed in all this programs for loan forgiveness, we're seeing it right now. We just got the benefit of that for the RIB project. They can't commit to it because the governor's council hasn't signed it yet.
Yeah, Dave, but we know we got a loan up there for the RIB site, and for 4 years, they didn't pay us their section, so I
State
had...
aid grant, that's a different program.
But it's still the state. That's why I believe you, and I think it will, but I think there is that. We have had that problem with the state in this town, so I hate to say, so I would prefer to give the figure and then say if that forgiveness loan comes, it's a certain amount. It's just a little bit in wording. I just don't want us to get caught with people thinking something that it may not be. You think it is, but we never can count on the state.
And I think that's why we've asked to bond the 230.
Right. So legally, we're asking the right things in the warrant article.
Yep.
The discussion should be here, and we can footnote that it is, I don't know how else to say it, that state aid grant under the responsibility of our representatives.
Yeah.
Enough said about that. This is not, they can't touch this. This is federal money
Okay.
that's coming in with grants and loan forgiveness. So it's pretty solid.
Okay.
And it's going to be bigger, these other projects, when we talk about the sewer projects, water projects.
And it's so noted on the screen. Footnote right there that says loan
Yeah,
forgiveness
I
is
mean,
not
but
guaranteed.
the answer to Suzanne was 108. So that was only what I was reacting to. That's fine if everybody else is comfortable with it. Okay. Any other public input? Suzanne?
I think you had a motion on the floor. I don't know if it got voted on.
Did we not vote on it? All right, I will go back and get the vote.
But the question is, in this wording, it says to further authorize the issuance of 231,203 in bonds. We're guaranteed, aren't we, I think, the 100,000. Have we included the interest on this? That's been added in here, the interest on the bond?
No, the bond hasn't been, we haven't set the bond in the amount, so you don't put the bond.
Well, what
That's the principle of the bond.
Well, what I'm getting at is, so they get away interest-free, that 100,000, we're gonna float their loan into our loan, and they aren't gonna pay any interest?
I think that's why I made the motion that we get an agreement, a financial commitment agreement, and we can get that straightened out in that, on what they're going to be paying for. So if they're going to pay, $10,000 a year, 800 or 900 could be for principal payment, and X could be for interest, if that.
Typically, when we've floated money for some project that's funded other than taxpayers' money that's bonded, that person pays the interest on their share. When we did that road up by me.
But I would say conversely, we aren't giving them any of the loan forgiveness in their calculation or the ARPA funds in their calculation. That's used to offset our portion.
So are we bonding 231,203 or 131?
We're getting permission to bond $231,203. That's what we're getting permission to bond. And if we don't need to bond all that, we won't. Which is what all these subtractions are. It looks like we're only going
I
to...
don't know how it could be explained better, but when I've that's why I'm standing here asking all these questions, is that I would have thought the 100,000 would go to offset 231, and we'd only be raising 131.
But
That isn't what
No,
I'm
that's
hearing.
not what it says.
in
It's
gross
not that.
budgeting, we can't do that.
No.
We have to gross budget the project.
I like it.
Add to that. It's a 2% interest, and it's a 10 years, so the interest is not a big part of the payback. But your point is, because of the way this was done with the association, they are raising their funds also. So it's not like they have a checkbook to write a $100,000 check. They're committing to us over time to pay a share of the cost, which we developed, and hopefully we're setting precedent so that we can continue to do these good projects, sharing the cost with people who are benefiting from it, as well as the public.
Let me just get that vote on that motion, and I think that was the motion I made about the financial commitment. I got the second, and I think we got talking. So that's what we're going to vote on, my motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Suzanne?
Sorry to ask you to do this, but can you repeat what that motion was relevant to the,
Yes, it says, I move that the Board of Selectmen must approve and sign a financial commitment agreement, a maintenance agreement, and all easements with the Port Wetland Association prior to any construction taking place.
okay, so basically what you're doing with that is you're kind of, David just said this is setting a precedent, you're kind of setting a policy for going forward, not only with this, but once you do that, I would assume that's going to satisfy the need of the next person.
I hope
would
that
hope
that
so.
we will do something similar to this if we go with another association looking for, and they're going to pay something, a financial commitment, some kind of a maintenance agreement, and any easements that we want. This is just to make sure that the public understands that that's what we're going to make sure is in place before this project moves forward.
So whatever this is, you'll be keeping in mind how it will work for the next, not just specific to this one. I would hope.
I will keep it in my mind.
Yeah, okay.
All right, any other comments, input? I need a motion to recommend.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then I need, does somebody want to make the motion on the bottom to move it onto the warrant?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're moving on. All right, and I've closed that public hearing, and now I'm going to open up the next public hearing. It is for $1,680,000 for the purpose of upgrading the Mill Street Pump Station. Jim?
Okay. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,680,000 for the purpose of replacing the Mill Street Sewer Pump Station, electrical equipment, and rehabilitation of the existing building. Further, to authorize the issuance of $1,008,000 in bonds or notes for this project in accordance with the provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act, and to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to negotiate, sell, and deliver such bonds or notes, and to determine the rate of interest thereon and the maturity and other terms thereof, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to participate in the State Revolving Loan Fund, RSA 486.14, established for this purpose, and to allow the Board of Selectmen to accept such monies as become available from the federal and state government, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any action or to pass any other vote thereto. The town has received a New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services American Rescue Act grant in the amount of $672,000. Estimated tax rate impact 2022, 0 per thousand of assessed valuation. 2023, 0 per assessed thousand of assessed valuation. 2024, 6 cents per thousand of assessed valuation. Dave?
Thank you.
Apologize, the technology is...
Just a reminder to the public, many years ago, because of the small user base we have for our sewer system, about 1,200 customers, and because the sewer system does impact our water quality, the town has elected to pay capital projects with the tax rate. So these do have an impact on tax rate. We also, this specific project, which is the Mill Street Sewer Pump Station, was built in 1940. We had upgrades in the 1990s. It is really beyond its useful life. It was identified to be replaced in the 2006 and 2007 study done by Wright Pierce engineers, but because of the issues we've had with the effluent disposal system, sewer I&I, and emergency repairs and work at the water treatment plant, we have put this off. However, it is really a concern for safety and reliability. We're aware it sits right on the shores of Back Bay, and if there was a backup, then we would have raw sewage going into the lake. Our solution has been, in 2001, we appropriated funds to look at this plant, this in the Lana Street pump stations, and we had the evaluation reports done. Cost estimate, it was in there for $1,680,000, and includes engineering, $200,000, construction, $1.2 million, and we have a large contingency because of $280,000. The uncertainties in the market right now, supply chains, so we're concerned. Our schedule is to engineer it in the summer and fall, bid it this time next year, with construction in 2023. Did apply for and were awarded the DES grant of $627,000, and we also will be looking for an SRF low-interest loan, just over $1 million. So the total project cost, going through the summary and the chart, which is not shown there, but hopefully we'll have $1,680,000, grant funding $672,000. So that reduces the amount to be bonded to $1,008,000. Then we have the 15% loan forgiveness, which we have asterisked in saying the loan forgiveness is not guaranteed, but it equates to $151,000. Possible net financial cost would be $856,000. Again, it is a financially, one of the good things of putting off the project was now we have the funding, because these fundings were not available, so it's a good way to do our CIP when these fundings come available. Don't have any pictures on this, and in fact it's not working, but I'm more happy to answer any questions about the Mill Street Pump Station.
I just want to point out, Dave, that we did have, and you've provided to the board, an evaluation of these pump stations, and we know exactly what their conditions are and why. So if anybody would like to see that, are we going to put this on the town website?
It is on the website, and it's at the library. So we have hard copies if you're old school. And if you're interested in the history, it's kind of unique because both buildings were built with WPA money in the 1940s. It served us well, but it's time for upgrades.
Does anybody have any public input? Anybody have any questions for Dave? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Can I have a vote to recommend?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. I'll make a motion that warrant Article 15, sewer pump station upgrade Mill Street, to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. I'll open up the next public hearing. It's for $1,470,000 for the purpose of engineering and constructing water treatment plant and water system upgrades. Jim?
See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,470,000 for the purpose of engineering and constructing water treatment plant and water system upgrades. Further, to authorize the issuance of $735,000 in bonds or notes for this purpose in accordance with provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act, and to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue, negotiate, sell and deliver such bonds or notes, and to determine the rate of interest thereon and the maturity and other terms thereof, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to participate in the State Revolving Loan Fund, RSA 448614, established for the purpose, and to allow the Board of Selectmen to expend such fund monies as become available from federal and state governments, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any action or to pass any vote related thereto, notwithstanding the general obligation nature of the bonds. It is the intention that this project shall be paid for by the Water Enterprise Fund and will not result in any increase in the tax rate. The town has received New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services American Rescue Act grant in the amount of $735,000, no tax rate impact.
Okay, so this is now on the water side. So this is the water distribution system. We have over 2,000 customers, and all capital projects are paid by the users. The problem here is aging infrastructure. Unlike our wastewater system, we didn't let it go too far. This plant was built in 1996, so it's only 25 years old. However, the filters were rated at 20 years, and we're 5 years beyond their useful life. They're still performing adequately, but we are concerned about the reliability if we keep pushing them too far. We also have a pressure-reducing valve. That's the building out by the Pine Hill Cemetery, in which the pressure coming from the reservoir is so high it has to be reduced by 50 pounds. That all happens automatically in a valve that was built back in the 90s. That system needs to be reviewed and upgraded, as well as a system at the high school where we have the water tank. That's a separate zone. We have valves, altitude valves, that are, again, approaching the end of their life. So this is going to be looking at those 3 facilities, and it is supported by the asset management plan, which identified all these problems. Again, we have bundling this all at once. The asset management plan, we had talked about doing so much each year, and we have been picking at it. But now with the grants that are available in the loan forgiveness, it's now time to bundle everything that we would have done over the next 10 years. So as a result of that, we have put it all together and came up with a cost of $1,470,000, which would be about $200,000 for engineering. That helps us detail everything out and put out the bid documents, and also helps with construction administration and inspection as the work is going on. Over $1 million in construction, and again, we're carrying about a 20% contingency because of the concern with the market. We are working on that project right now. We have a scope of work coming to us shortly, so we'd like to get a jump on this and get this out to bid early in the spring, with work occurring in the fall and the winter next year. We had good news on this one also, which we received a big grant. 50% of it is a grant for $735,000. Then we received a low-interest loan, a 2% loan, SRF loan, for $735,000. Of that $735,000, there is the 15% loan forgiveness, which again is asterisk because it's not guaranteed, but it looks strong, so the net financial cost would be around $624,000. Again, this is a very good project supported by the asset management plan, which hopefully we have copies, and we have tried to put those also online through the webpage. You can find a link to it. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any selectmen, any questions from any member of the public? Okay, hearing none, can I have a vote to recommend?
So move. Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I'll close that public hearing. Next one is,
Make a motion to move this to the warrant.
you're right.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I'll open up the last public hearing. It is for a bond in $1,470,000 for the purpose of evaluating, design, and permitting and replacing of the existing lead and galvanized service connections. Imagine this is in the water system.
Okay, Article
Jim,
17.
there was a typo here, just to make sure.
There is.
Okay, so you got, 720,000, not 1.2.
There is an error in the
It's on
notice.
My sheet, it was.
That's just, but I think the warrant article's written right. It's just the
Yeah, okay,
typo.
I will then, it is 700,000, and it was wrong on the sheet. Yep.
Yeah, so
Okay, Jim.
there was an error in the notice. We did confer with legal counsel. That's not an issue because all we really have to be concerned about for the obligation to notice is the time, place, and purpose. The funding is not a big concern in the notice, so we're in good shape there. So 17 reads, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $720,000 for the purpose to evaluate, design, and permit the replacement of existing lead and galvanized service connections within the water distribution system. Further, to authorize the issuance of $358,695 in bonds or notes for this project in accordance with the provision of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act, and to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue, negotiate, sell, and deliver such bonds or notes, and to determine the rate of interest thereon, and the maturity and other terms thereof, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to participate in the state revolving loan fund, RSA 48614, established for this purpose, and to allow the Board of Selectmen to expend such monies as become available from federal and state government, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any action or to pass any other vote relating thereto. Notwithstanding the general obligation nature of this bond, it is in the intention that this project shall be paid for by the Water Enterprise Fund and will not result in any increase in the tax rate. The town has received a New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services American Rescue Act grant in the amount of $361,305, and there will be no tax rate impact project. Dave?
Great, thank you, Jim. So similarly, this water project did receive a grant, but did not receive at this point a state revolving fund. So right now, we're looking at bonding it separately, but it could change because more money may become available as we go through the process. The problem here, again, is aging infrastructure. And not like the plant, which we said 1996, but water lines were put in 1890s. We're still using those cast iron lines, and we have 3 miles of pipe that still are vintage. That in itself is not bad because back in the day they made good pipe. But the bad news is it is potential loss of water at the joints. There is potential for breaks. And most concern now, most recently, is lead in any way. We know we had some lead in our joints. We don't have lead pipes, but there are potential for lead goosenecks and lead joints and brass. So the new EPA requirements, which give us 3 years to meet, require us to survey all our individual water services to assure there's no lead in the system. This is going to help us do that because we would expect most of the old parts of the system are where we might have old connections. So part of this is going to help us meet new EPA regulations, and it's going to include surveying all these road right-of-ways, identifying the services, identifying the main replacements, and also will then be supplemented, because this is going to be engineering, not construction. In future years, there'll be construction, and if we say you're going down South Main Street, well, heck, we got the road, now's the time to fix the drainage, now's the time to fix the sidewalk. So this project will lead us to other projects. So there is going to be a real important need to phase these and schedule these and coordinate those with other infrastructure projects. This project has been identified in the asset management plan, and it is and now is going to be the need to prioritize. Well, this is a lot of dollars for engineering. It is going to support $7 million of construction projects. So the water system alone, we can't do that all in 1 year, so we will be phasing that. And we also will be looking at how those future bond payments will fit in with the rates. So we are doing an updated rate study. We are very confident the rates, our expenses have been dropping off. So the bonds, all the 3 bonds we're talking about this year, no problem within the rates we have now. Going forward, if we continue with the 2% rate increases, we should have no problem. But we are going to detail all that out, and we hope to be with the board shortly on that one. The schedule is going to be engineering in 22 and 23. There'll actually be 2 years of engineering. we wouldn't see probably any construction unless there's something that's quick or fast until 2024. The project cost, again, $720,000. We're looking at the grant of 50%, $361,305. And so we're looking at bonding $358,695. At this point, it doesn't have a state revolving fund, but there is a chance we could get that. But that's what we're at now. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about the
Does anybody in the public have any input? Board members, anybody have any questions? Okay, I need a vote to recommend.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, then I'll remember at this time, I'll make a motion. Article number 17, water main upgrade to be placed on the 2022 warrant. Do I
Second.
have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I was just looking at the chart that we have got on the state revolving fund. From the state revolving fund, if this spreadsheet is correct, we'll have $2,332,898, and on ARPA grants we have $1,967,392. And if you add those two up, it's $4,300,290. That's a big, huge saving to the taxpayers of this town. And thank you, David, for applying for all those. We all like that. All right. Does anybody else have any questions? I'll close all the public hearings and we'll move on. And the next item on the agenda is public input. Does anybody have any public input?
Susie and Ryan, addressing this to Mr. Pinio. There's been talk around town of the possibility of limiting the attendance in this room for the meeting of the 10th to 50 people. Are you aware of any COVID type thing that would require that, or any sort of safety, life safety requirements that limit 50 people in this room?
That's complete news to me.
Do you know what the limit is allowed here?
It's posted on that back wall. I want to say it's 250 or something like that. but
Okay.
I have not heard such.
Okay, idle talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Okay. Any other public input? Hearing none. Next item is the bulk vote. Weekly manifest, December 17th was $559,886.23. The December 23rd manifest was $511,562.14. And on the December 31st was $134,911.20. We have a rebate, we have an intent to cut, and we have 2 property tax exemptions. Anybody want to move anything from that bulk vote? Hearing none, can I have a motion to pass the bulk vote?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next item on the agenda is the board committees and appointments. We have none. I'm going to go on to new business discussion as an appointment with Noah Hoffman, New Hampshire DRA intent to cut process. And come on up, state your name for the record.
Noah Hoffman, Assistant Timber Tax Appraiser, DRA.
You may just have to take that microphone and hold it because you have a mask on, and if we don't, the people at home are not going to hear you.
I just wanted to go over the responsibilities of the board and filing the intent to cut and going through the process. I had this one intent in particular that I'd like to go over, one that was just signed. I'm not technically sure when it was signed, but when intent to cut comes into the office, it will be stamp dated. They have 15 days to process the intent. they need to deny it for one of the 4 reasons, they can deny it, then send a written letter or by email to the landowner or logger why it's not going to be signed. Once it's in the office, the only person that can make a change to it, if change needs to be changed, is the landowner. So if the board isn't going to meet within the 15-day period, they need to sign outside in a regular office. So this one in particular came in on the 16th and wasn't going to be signed until tonight. When I came in on 12:30, I was informed that it wasn't going to be signed till tonight, and I explained that that wasn't following the RSA 79. So it needed to be signed outside the meeting. So the process is to post it for 24 hours in a publicly accessible area, bulletin board, or the website, and then after that, the board can come in and sign it outside of the meeting. The question I have with this one was that it was signed outside the meeting, but wasn't sure if it was posted prior and was signed electronically, and then I wasn't sure of the dates that you guys signed it. One was Linda, Brad, and the other one I'm unable to read, starts with another B, but it was 12/28, and then today I received another, the same exact intent, that was signed again by you guys on 12/31, 30, and 31, and I'm curious why there's 2 intents for this one and why the process isn't.
I don't have all those documents. Well, I think we signed it. I think the reason you got the different dates is we probably signed one electronically, and then I came in and signed it. I can remember coming in and physically signing it. So we can make the adjustments. What you're telling us, that we have to make sure we get these signed in 15 days, that either we come in as a board and have a meeting and do it and notice the meeting properly, or we can place it on the bulletin board with a notice that it's there to the public, and then we can come in and just sign it without meeting.
That's correct.
Correct. And we have to make sure that we date it properly and consistently. Is that correct?
That's correct, because this one in particular that is in question was a complaint into the town. The town called Forest and Lands and DRA to go check on it to make sure that the logger wasn't cutting before the intent was signed. I found that he was cutting before the intent was signed, and then had him stop until the intent was going to be processed, and then now it's unclear of when it actually was, because on the 30th, when I came in and talked to the assessing clerk, I was informed that it wasn't going to be signed till the 30th, or till tonight, and then it was signed on the 30th, but backdated to the 28th. So going forward, trying to hold this person accountable.
Well, I'm sorry that we didn't get this together, but I think, Jim, you understand what we need to do here?
So a couple of items. This was on the evening of the 28th as a bulk vote item.
Okay.
I did not have the document, so I had nothing to sign for you. That's why it went out on a DocuSign document. We have had a couple of conversations internally about this, trying to create a better plan. It's going to be challenging when you get around the holidays, but we will do the best that we possibly can to accommodate and follow the rules as you have them established.
And I did find, and I was told about the 28th and how it was in the bulk, and I did see it on the agenda. And just so you guys know that this intent isn't valid until it's signed by you and the assessing official.
And it has been. It's now signed. Are you okay with what we've signed, or do we need to do something different?
No, it's good to go. I want to make sure that the one that was signed, what date did you electronically sign this? I guess that's one of my questions. Because it was backdated to 28th.
That was the 30th.
I think I came in, I think she also had a document here. I came in because I was doing last night Wolfeboro, and I physically signed it in place, so I think she may have had 2. I'm not sure. May have gone out electronically.
Is DocuSign an acceptable form or not?
Only for you guys. And you can print it out, sign it and scan it back in as well. I just want to make sure that it gets within the 15 days and everybody's.
I hear you.
And that 15 days, is that 15 business days, or is that 15 days?
That's 15 days,
Period. Including holidays?
including holidays. The only time where it's not is when it's brought in on a holiday afterwards. And it's in, I did send Amy all the information and folded it, and it should be with you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is change street name request, Youngs Road. Looks like it's from planning, or are you going to do this?
So it's my understanding that there are actually 2 Young roads, one in the town of Wolfeboro, and one which is in Ossipee. Both are off of the Browns Ridge Road section of town. Kind of surprised that this had occurred. I'm not sure why it wasn't caught previously, but this seems like an issue of safety, to be able to get people responding to appropriate locations. So the request has been made to change Youngs Road going forward. Had to put a requested name on it.
Yeah, there are 3 of them. Gray
There you
Lane,
go.
Gray Farm Road, and Snowfield Farm Road. Only thing we'd need to know is to make sure there aren't any other roads named that in the town because of 911.
I don't believe there are. We can double check that, run it through safety services, and this would have to be approved by 911 anyhow.
Yeah.
If you're good with it, we will continue to move forward. Is there any problems with the 3 names that are listed?
No.
No.
I actually tried to do like a map search for it, and if you put in Ossipee, you put in Wolfeboro, it gets you to the same place.
Well, I live at the end. I'm half in Wolfeboro and half in New Durham, and the number of people come to our house that Market Road in New Durham, and that's on the other side. It's hard when things get confused like that.
So we'll continue to work on it.
Do you want a motion?
Yeah, that would be great.
Somebody want to make a motion to change the name of Young Rose to any one of the 3 listed?
Any one of the 3.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The next item, Pop Whalen occupancy / Kingswood rules. Christine, we are finally to you.
Hello, Christine Collins, Parks and Rec Director. So we are asking for an increase for capacity for games for Kingswood and Brewster. Currently, it's at 40.
Oh, it's at 60 and you want to move to 90.
Yes, we want to move it to 90 because that would allow each team to have 2 parents per spectator. Both of those organizations require all people in the building to have masks on. So we do feel it is a safe situation to increase the capacity because it still would leave the lobby open and there is room in the rink for them.
Does any board member have
Yeah, just my nephew plays hockey. He's got COVID. He plays in another town. So I actually made a call to Huggins, and I was waiting for a call back just to see what the status is right now of how filled they are. Because when a building opens up like this, and it's going to be open up for a lot of events, I just wanted to get a feeling from them. I haven't gotten a return call from them yet. My question would be, would you be able to check to make sure either with Huggins or with somebody else to make sure that if there is a spike in teenagers or something like this from this, or that there is capability at our hospital, because I know our hospital was pretty packed before. And do you have a plan in place in case all of a sudden there is a outbreak that you cut it right back down to 60 or?
Yes, I think we go along with the school too, because the schools are very, like, for instance, Rooster they test before they have any games or anything. So every athlete is tested, and so sometimes they don't have games. I think Kingswood, I'm not sure exactly what the protocol is, but we follow whatever the guidelines are for the school. So I know in some situations, they're looking closely at winter sports to see if it's still in a safe realm.
Yeah. And I mean, that being said, the new variant is contagious, but they say it's not as, people don't get as seriously sick from it. So that was my only concern, that we don't overtax our hospital.
We did pursue every other option. We looked at being able to broadcast it live outside or at the lodge. We looked at those, and those weren't really viable options. Every other ice arena seems to be increasing their numbers, and this is timely because there's a couple of rivalry games that are coming up in the very near future that there's been a lot of people from that community who reached out to us asking, are you going to increase the number so we can watch our children play? So it is timely.
Yeah, and I think it was hard last year when they couldn't. I think they've already spent a year not having their kids there and seeing the games and having all that yelling that they love to do. And if they're going to be wearing, both are required to wear masks,
Yes.
then I feel like we're okay.
And that is still pretty limited. 90 is pretty limited for that building. They still have room to spread out, and the fact that they are all wearing masks, like, they all know the rules. So, and we haven't had any issues with it, like with the limit we have now. But the problem is we can't allow opposing teams, because what happens is some people are driving an hour, 2 hours to get here, and then there's a chance they can't get into the building. So this now will eliminate that. We'll say, okay, you can have up to 2, and then they know they can get into the building.
I think that's reasonable.
Yes.
All right.
Friendly.
Yes. We don't want to make the news.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to change the Pop Whalen capacity for games to 90?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we move on. We want to keep our finance director here good and late these days. We've got the 2022 default budget and 2022 revenues.
Alrighty. I have prepared a memo for you for the 2022 default budget. According to RSA 40, semicolon 13(9)B, it is the amount of the same appropriations as contained in the operating budget authorized for the previous year, reduced and increased as the case may be by debt service, contracts, and other obligations previously incurred or mandated by law, and reduced by one-time expenditures contained in the operating budget. I took the operating budget that was approved last year, took out one-time events, changed it for debt service and contracts, and came up with a default budget in the amount of $29,511,151. This is needs to be voted on by the governing body following that formula that I just expressed. And in this case, as of last night, it is $242,144 less than the current Budget Committee proposed budget. That number can change after the public hearing next week, but the default budget would not change. I did give you also details based on each fund. I broke it out by each fund. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to entertain.
Board members, does anybody have any questions or concerns? Or any questions they want to ask our finance director? There is a motion on the bottom of page 1. Does somebody want to make that motion?
Motion to approve the 2022 default budget in the amount of $29,511,151 as recommended by the finance director.
Second.
Okay, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. This evening I put a spreadsheet on your desk, so you did not have a chance to look at this. However, this document is ever-changing based on your recommendations for the warrant articles tonight. So it's not anything you need to approve on, but these are the estimated revenues that we're using for the 22 budget at this time. Again, the numbers would change if anything happens at the public hearing, you know, if the appropriations went up or down. So I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. I did throw on the estimated revenues for 21, the actuals almost through the whole year, but it stated 1220 in column 2. I gave you the DRA rate for 21 that we're currently using and the estimated revenues for 22. A lot of numbers, a lot of subcategories on this page, but if you'd like to ask questions now or later, I'd be more than happy.
Does anybody have any questions, concerns? Okay.
All right.
If we do, we'll come in to see you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the creation of a bike trail committee. And I have been doing some thinking about that, and I have 3 possible ways that the board could do this and different board members could take part. The first one would be that the full board be part of the committee and we do it in work sessions. The second options would be to put 2 members on the committee and have 1 alternate, which means that we will be noticing the meetings, but there still would only be 2 people who would be able to vote. The other person would be there just if the other ones. And the third one is to just put 2 members on the committee. So I want to see what the majority of the board would like to do. I know that Brian, Luke, and I have been up there. I know you've worked on it. So it just seems like it may make sense that we're all on it. That's my first choice. And we're talking about how, what happens when somebody uses town property without permission. That topic, I believe, is also going to need to be discussed because we have this and we have 1 other. And also, what kind of trails, to what degree do we want trails in town? There is this big master plan, and so.
Yeah, I'm also concerned about the cost going forward because according to Andrew Lester, he said a number he threw out at one of our committee meetings was $35,000 a year to maintain the trails. And we know that there's going to be an additional amount for insurance. We pay $10,000, I believe, for Abenaki Ski Hill. There's going to be some additional, and there's going to be a liability. And there could be costs if people get hurt going down the mountain.
Right, but that's more what we need to deal with the board at a board meeting. I'm talking, and I'll finish up on it. I would see at least 2 people from single track, somebody from the Conservation Commission to join us. We could put more on from the single track. I just started with us to get a feeling of, you know, does everybody want to be part of it? Do you want just 3 of us to be part of it? Do you want 2 of us to be part of it?
I'm okay with either 5 or 3.
I'll go either way. I mean, I'd definitely like to be part of it myself anyway.
Yep.
I don't have an issue if the whole board, if we want to put the whole board out there, then we're all involved with it. We know what's going on and don't have to rely on getting feedback from a subcommittee type thing to us at every meeting, so.
And I see it the same way as we kind of do with the Libby Museum. We go into the meeting, but we will do all the voting at a regular board meeting.
Yep.
It would be a work session. Dave, how are you?
That's fine. Fine with me.
Luke?
We're talking about bike trails on town-owned property.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to bring, I think it would be nice to have somebody from the Conservation Commission so we coordinate. But no, we're talking town-owned property.
Because they have properties of their own. And then there's the single-track group that runs on the old railroad beds and stuff. So, yeah, I guess if we do it all together, like Brad says, we don't have subcommittees to deal with.
Hey, Luke?
It is, and also Mary DeVries reached out to me, and she'd like the chamber to be part of it, or at least have somebody from the chamber on the committee.
Okay, so we'll be the 5 of us, two individuals from single track? Does that make sense?
One from the chamber.
1 from the chamber and 1 for the Conservation Commission. That'll give us 9. I think that's...
Money.
And so do we want to ask people from the single track, or do we want to say to single track, send us 2 people?
And it's 2 people.
Okay.
That way they'd be interested.
I think they would. I think.
I think they will be anyway.
Yeah. And you want to take it back to the chamber? Mary just needs to call for somebody from a Conservation Commission.
Yep.
You want to go? Lenore did go up with us. So we'll leave it that way. And do we want to do it by a motion or by consensus? Consensus, okay?
Consensus is good.
Okay, so that's what we'll do. All righty. Next item on the agenda, Public Works Capital Project Report.
Hello again, Dave Ford, Public Works. So we haven't been here, I'm not sure, it might have been a few months, as we get so busy with budgets, it seems to take up a quarter of our year. But a lot has happened, and so I've updated and dropped projects that are completed, but we'll start with the top of the list, and the biggest project was the Effluent Disposal study, construction. $3.5 million budget, which we authorized. The project has come in way under budget, and we're looking at a balance of over $800,000, which will come back to the funds, stays in that fund. And in addition to the loan we will take out, which we have closed out, we will get the loan forgiveness, 15% on this, so that will give the town back $377,000. That'll help fund other projects. Right now, the facility is operational. We have a 1-year warranty period, so we're keeping an eye on everything. Woodward and Curran, I met with them over the last 2 weeks. They've taken over operation and documenting the operation of it. We are going very slow. We're following the existing permit, and as a result, the pond is not going to empty very quickly. But I think right now we're in really good shape, and we're excited about that. So,
Dave, how much are we sending up there to the RIBs now?
right now, we're doing 275,000 gallons a day.
And we can go to 340?
It's monthly, so depending on the month.
Okay.
Right now, which is based on the old permit, but we're still going to keep it low until summer months, and then it'll start to increase to 350. But we're not going to push it. We're going to go very much nice and easy. We're monitoring all the groundwater levels, and we're out there on a weekly basis. Good news so far on that. We are continuing with our long-term study, working with the town of Tuftonboro and their engineer. That's going along pretty well. Any questions on the RIB project? Okay, Recreational Doc Repairs. We had the big project, $850,000. Right now, we've spent a little less than half of that. I got into the pay rec now coming in. We are still have a balance of $22,000. C and D docks are now been stripped, and they're being decked, and they're looking pretty good. Once those are done, they'll go with the rest of the demolition of docks, the rest of the residential docks. And again, we should be in good shape by May of 2022 with all those docks being completed and the electrical. That's all going pretty well. Any questions on the docks? Okay, on town road upgrades, we had 2 fundings on town road upgrades. $650,000 was for the Stoneham Road, which was bid out, and that base paving and drainage was completed. We did the Bryant Road overlay, and we did East Clock Road in Goodrich was complete rebuilds with the town crews doing a lot of that work. There is a balance of about $100,000, which will be used for the Stoneham Road overlay, which will be in the springtime. The second part of the road budget was under the High-End Park project, in which we had to do water upgrades in addition on both the streets. And those are the next projects, warrant Article 19 from 2021. That project is substantially complete and very difficult, kind of a nightmare project, but Dawson Excavating did a nice job on it. We still have a punch list, a couple little items with the paving, so we are still working with some of the property owners, but we did come in under budget, and we're in pretty good shape on Park and High. Again, we looks like of the total budget of 881,000, it looks like we might come in just $100,000 under budget on that project. We still have some outstanding costs though. Any questions on the roads or Park and High?
So in terms of those two, they're pretty well, you were saying they're pretty well done, we just got punch lists?
We have punch lists, and as we get through the winter, we've been Park and High is very difficult, very narrow, and we're concerned with how we're going to be able to plow snow and how the drainage will work. So it wouldn't surprise me that we might have a few little things in the springtime to clean up when, the first time we plow, get used to all the new curbs, so there might be some additional work that we might have to do. So I am going to hold that balance is been carried over.
Okay.
But so I still think most of that balance will come back to the bottom line and not be used. Next project, warrant Article 20 and 21 was the Railroad Ave layout and construction. As you can see, we did all the parking lot drainage and construction, installation of underground conduit. We've got the bases in for the street lights and for the electric charging station. Electric charging station was purchased separately from this contract, but it was installed on this, and it still hasn't been installed yet, sitting in the garage. But in the springtime, we have to complete the installation of an electrical panel, and then we can run the wires to the lights and the wires into the electric charging station. We hope to have that ready by late spring. In addition, we have to do actually the road layout. And as we, again, crazy with budgets, and now with town meeting, hopefully this spring, we can go through the formal process of laying out the road and working with our neighbors there, the condo association. But right now, everything's worked out very well. Everyone's really happy with the work we've done. And we have now an as-built, so we can actually show the locations of the road and the facilities, and we'll have a boundary plan to the Selectmen. The process, we'll have to do a public hearing.
And you'll have easements? Because we'll need an easement. They've got their, or something, they've got their storage shed on our land.
We're going to have a boundary plan showing the right-of-way. And on it, it'll show the proper term.
We have to give them permit. We haven't given them permission to put that building on our land. They just put it there. So if we're going to let them do it, I would say we'd give them some kind of an agreement.
Correct. Okay, so that plan, I will have to you in draft form, and I have some notes on that, so you can look at that, and then we can say if that's adequate or not to address the situation. In addition, we also need to get the easement from the Bean Family Trust. Verbalize and happy with everything. That process is just a matter of dotting the I's, crossing the T's.
April? I'm going to put a date on you, because I'd like to see it.
Well, it really comes back to you guys. I mean,
Well, we could put it on beforehand if you have the stuff for us.
there's work that has to be done. Some of it has to be, we got to go back to the attorney. Jim and I have to sit down, so it's not like you just push a button. There's work that has to be done.
Okay.
So April's a good date.
Okay, that's all I was trying to do. I've just given us something to head towards. So we're going to look to have that done by April. All righty.
Okay, next one was the sewer pump station engineering, and the engineer was HDR, selected by Quals, and you've seen the reports they've done with regards to the initial assessment and then a more detailed assessment. Now we're starting to work on the actual design of Lanner Street. We haven't talked about that. That'll be a warrant article that's not bonded. It's being the money that's been saved and left over from the RIB project to fund that project. So that's going on well, and it's leading into these, and luckily, our timing was just right, so we were able to get the grant money. So again, what we talked about earlier, which was really good news. Any questions about the pump station engineering? The next are capital reserve funds in which the money's been transferred. I can give you updates at the treatment plant. We did do a major lighting project that's pretty well substantially complete. All the new lights are in. I was with the Russ yesterday walking through the plant. Much improved, much safer. So the lights now, they actually, as they're driving in, they have an app and they can turn all the lights on as they come in, and they can turn them off. So now it's much safer. Only one activator light as you get close to the building, so the lights won't go on automatically. They have to come in early at night or an emergency in the morning. Now it's much safer. The second part of that project was working on the Hall Road. We've had some delays as we use some of that money to work on the effluent storage pond, and we need to sit down with the opera money to get ourselves squared away so we can square that project away. Going forward, we are looking at funding this next year and continuing having money to fund the basis of design for the treatment plant in later years. The next project was the Public Works Vehicle Cap Reserve Fund, and in 2021, we replaced HD1, which was the one-ton truck, and then SW8, which was one of our trash compactors that was done in the summer. Little typo here is HD4. As an emergency, we replaced HD4, which was a six-wheel dump truck. In December, Brad helped us, looked at that. We got a heck of a deal. I can say that the truck is doing wonderful for us. Right time, and it's really working great. The guys are really impressed with that. Thank you for that. The Building Cap Reserve Fund, not a lot happened in 2021, but thanks to the Selectmen and authorizing the installation of a restroom at the wastewater facility, that's ongoing. We've got a lot of the connection to the septic system done, the water connection, and we're doing a demolition in the building. We have a general contractor working on that, so we're very excited and hopefully have that done by the spring. Going on to older projects, which are 2020, the Cary Beach parking lot project. That work was done. The problem we had there, we did have a problem with the shower, and I think we figured it out, of course, at the end of the year. So it's still under warranty, and we'll make sure that's working good. I think it's worked out pretty well, and the project did come in a little bit under budget, and the encumbered amount was the retainage, which was returned just recently. Was being returned, so that project will come off the list. Same thing with town road upgrades. 2020, some of that money was used for the overlays of projects done in 2019. Excuse me, 2020, and we didn't use all. So there was a little bit of unspent money that will go to the bottom line because the funds do expire at the end of this year. Recreational Doc Repairs, that was kind of the phase one, and we had that open as Doc A. We were working on just the lights. That was done, so the bill has come in, and that'll be closed out after. The last one on the list is, unfortunately, the electric generation building study. That got delayed due to the COVID issues, but Bergeron Technical Services has pretty much completed that work, and the report should be to us shortly. They want to double check a few more things. But that's going to lay out for the town how the building can be reused, what the cost would be, what the problems are. And while we had so much on our warrants this year, we didn't get to that project. Hopefully, this will help us continue in a grassroots movement, working with the Girl Scouts, the seniors, and hopefully maybe in 2023 we can kind of do the next phase of that project. We'll see.
Dave, on that one, have we finished was the electric department going to do something about environmental study in the building itself? Correct.
That was the subcontractors we had some issues with. So they came in and they had to get to certain areas to test for all the different issues we're worried about. Asbestos. That's all been done. That'll be all part of the report.
Okay. All part. Okay, good.
So any other questions about anything going on with Public Works or Water Sewer? We'll be more than happy to answer. Very good. Thank you.
Tim, I just have one comment. This is the size that we got in our packet. This is the size that the Budget Committee as a report. I'm just looking at size of paper. And it's far easier to read. So I would prefer. Anybody else want large copies? Okay. This I hardly can. I gotta get out of the way. All right. All righty, we got to do the warrant articles. We're on to back to warrant articles.
Okay, so in front of you, I gave you a copy of the updated warrant articles. In red is the recommendations that need to be made to vote to put it on the warrant, or whether or not the board is recommending the article and then to put it on the warrant. go through this just as a highlight. We finished pretty much the last budget meeting last night. The budget hearing is scheduled for the 13th in this room. So we will be going through that on the 13th. Short of that, if you're all set, I'll go through the articles. And
I think so, and we'll vote to recommend and put them on the warrant.
all right. And obviously, these are, at this time, subject to numbering changes still and subject to wording changes by DRA. So Article 18, the operating budget. Shall the town raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant, or as amended by vote of the first session for the purpose set forth therein totaling. We don't have that number at this point. That'll be decided next Wednesday. Should this article be defeated, the operating budget shall be $29,511,152, which is the same as last year's operating budget with certain adjustments required by the previous actions of the town or by law of the governing body.
I don't think we can recommend it until we can't recommend to move something onto the warrant where we've got a bunch of excess. Give us the number that they came up with and we put it in. I'm fine to move that number forward, but I'm not fine moving a blank number in.
Casey, am I
do you
correct
have
that that number is, if I'm correct, $29,753,295? Is that correct?
Okay, so that's, we're going to insert that number on that line.
And that's as of last night. They're subject to change at the public hearing.
Yeah, this is, as long as you have a figure there. Board members have any question? Dave, and we'll take a vote here. All right, can I have a motion to recommend?
So
Not to
moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on to the next one, Jim.
Do you want to just do a motion at the end,
Oh, no,
or do you want to do them?
you can tell I'm going to forget. Want them after every one, or can we do them, make a motion to move them to the warrant? Oh, okay. I'll make a motion, warrant Article 18, operating budget to be placed on the 2022 warrant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay. At the meeting on the 28th, you approved the financials associated with the AFSCME contract. Contract is in your binder this evening for signing. Article 19 reads, to see if the town will vote to approve the cost items included in a one-year collective bargaining agreement reached between the Board of Selectmen and Local 534 of the American Federation of State, County, and Federal Employees, AFSCME, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at current staffing levels. 2022 wages, $83,170. Benefits, $21,399 for a total increase of $104,569. And further to raise and appropriate $104,569 for current year. Such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increases in wages and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022 is 4 cents per assessed valuation.
Board members, you have any questions for Jim? Hearing, oh,
Just make a comment
Yep.
that this now includes the firefighters, which were not in the union, in the AFSCME unit prior to this year. That's why you see quite an increase in benefits from years past. 10?
9.
9 firefighters that are now in the SAFSME group, just so you know.
And that will be broken out, so when you break that out, the increase is actually quite comparable to last year's. It also addresses some of the contract issues that we had, removing it, and it also compensates the CDL drivers who now, while effective February, are becoming much more valuable because of the required training that they're going to have going forward in order to obtain a CDL.
When we go and do our presentations, are you going to have a slide that shows us that?
Yep.
Thanks, David, for bringing it up, because that's an important piece here.
Yeah, because in another part of the budget, there's a decrease that offsets that.
Yep. Okay, can I have a motion on recommendation?
I'll
So moved.
Make a motion.
Okay, and Brian, I heard you second?
Second.
Okay, and that is to vote yes, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Righty.
I'll make a motion to move this warrant Article 19 under the 2022 warrant.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now on to the next one, Jim.
Article 20, electric power reconstruction of Turtle Island Road, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of $270,000 for the purpose of reconstructing the overhead electrical distribution system on the Turtle Island tap, which includes the areas of Camp Road, Lady Francis Drive, Wishing Well Lane, and Governor's Shore Road. The amount of $270,000 shall be funded from the Electrical Enterprise Fund surplus. This expenditure will not result in any increase in the tax rate. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 0 per thousand of assessed valuation.
Board members, any question? Hearing none. Does somebody want to make a recommendation, a motion?
Make a motion that we recommend Article 20.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got many seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. I'll make a motion that warrant Article 20, electric power reconstruction of Turtle Island Road, be placed on the 2022 warrant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, Jim, on to the next.
Article 21, Bridge Falls Path lighting replacement, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $252,000 for the purpose of replacing the electrical system to include underground conduit, lampposts, and lighting fixtures along Bridge Falls Path, which runs from Fossfield to Center Street. Funding for this project shall be paid for by transferring up to $42,000 from the existing Bridge Falls Path Capital Reserve Fund and raising $210,000 by general taxation. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32(7), Roman numeral 6, and shall lapse on December 31, 2023, or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022 is 9 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Any questions by anybody? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Motion to approve Article 21, Bridge Falls Path lighting replacement.
Very good.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. Brad, do you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to move Article 21 placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All righty.
Okay, Article 22, sewer pump station upgrade Laner Street, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,270,000 for the purpose of engineering and constructing a new Laner Street sewer pump station, to allow the Board of Selectmen to expend such monies that become available from federal and state governments, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any action or to pass any other vote relative thereto. This project be funded from the Rapid Infiltration Basin lawsuit settlement. Therefore, this project will not result in any increase in the tax rate. Estimated tax rate impact, 0 per thousand of assessed valuation for 2022.
Does anybody have any comments, questions? I have one comment. I will say that we did do a audit or analysis of the funds in the lawsuit settlement, and there was plenty of money to cover this one. If anybody wants it, Jim or Casey can send it to you. So does somebody want to make a motion?
Motion to recommend Article 22.
Do I have a second? Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Anybody? Brad, do you want to make another motion?
I'll make a motion to move Article 22 to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're moving on.
Article 23, Public Safety Building Construction Grade Bid Documents. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $300,000 for the purpose of developing construction grade bid documents for public safety services facility planning. The funding for this project shall be paid for by transferring up to $75,000 from the existing Public Safety Capital Reserve Fund. Furthermore, passage of this article will authorize $225,000 in funds be raised by general taxation. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32.7 Roman numeral 6 and shall lapse on December 31, 2023 or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022 is 9 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Does any board members have any questions or concern? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Motion to recommend Article 23, Public Safety Building.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, I'll make a motion that warrant Article 23, the Public Safety Building Construction Grade Bid Document, be placed on the 2022 warrant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All righty. On to the next one.
Article 24, Townwide Historic Resources Study, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $17,000 for the purpose of hiring a preservation consultant to carry out a townwide historic resources survey that will serve as the foundation for future efforts to protect its historic character and help manage growth and change. Completing this survey is identified as a high priority in the arts, culture, and heritage chapter of the master plan and is one of the primary purposes of the Heritage Commission. The survey will provide an overview of the community, including its geography, history, architecture, patterns of development, and important themes in its history. It will contain an extensive bibliography, maps, and listing of potential and already identified historic resources. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32.7 Roman numeral 6 and shall lapse on December 31, 2022 or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. Estimated tax rate impact 2022, 1 cent per thousand of assessed valuation.
Anybody have any questions or concerns? Hearing none, does somebody want to make a motion?
Move to recommend Article 24, Townwide Historical Resources Study.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, Brad.
I'll make a motion to move warrant Article 24, Townwide Historic Resources Study, to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next one.
Article 25, Town Road Upgrades, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,300,000 for the purpose of upgrading town roads, sidewalks, and drainage systems. To authorize funds in the amount of $1 million from the town's unassigned fund balance, $300,000 from general taxation. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32.7 Roman numeral 6 and shall lapse on December 31, 2023 or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022 is 12 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Does anybody have any comments, questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Motion to recommend Article 25, Town Road Upgrades.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Righty. I'll make a motion to place warrant Article 25, Town Road Upgrade, to be placed on the 2022 warrant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, on to the next one.
Article 26, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $125,000 for the purpose of upgrading existing water mains to be funded from the Water Enterprise Fund. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32.7, Roman numeral 6, and shall lapse on December 31, 2023, or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. Estimated tax rate impact, 2022, 0 per thousand of assessed valuation. It's going to be covered by the Water Enterprise Fund.
Don't write on here that it has no impact on the tax rate.
That's right here.
Estimated tax rate impact 2022, 0 per.
Estimated tax rate impact.
No, I'm saying in the warrant article itself, don't these warrant articles will have impact on the tax?
Yeah, we do have that in the electrical fund, so we will
That
add
needs
that
to be
in
put
there.
in that. With that change sentence, that it'll have no impact on the tax rate. Can I have a motion to recommend or not recommend?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 6.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Brad?
I'll make a motion to move warrant Article 26, water line upgrades, to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
Keep picking on it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Article 27, solid waste site upgrades, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $125,000 for the purpose of performing repairs at the solid waste facility and developing a facilities master plan. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32.7, Roman numeral 6, and shall lapse on December 31, 2023, or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 5 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Anybody have any questions or concerns? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Move to recommend Article 27, solid waste site upgrades.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And I'll make a motion for warrant Article 27 to be moved to the 2022 warrant.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so the next one, you have some additional backup that you would have received. This is the Public Works truck and employee. It was discussed at the Budget Committee, and there was a discussion whether or not we should separate the articles. We did hear back from legal counsel. Legal counsel said we certainly can do that. However, the response also stated if the desire is to make the truck and the employee part of the same package, then it probably makes sense to keep them together in a singular article. So it's the board's discretion. It's your warrant. I've provided you with an option for a single standalone article, or for two articles, one for a vehicle and one for a highway employee.
You know, I think, Jim, what you did is we added a paragraph which explains how much it would be in 2023. And I think that was the issue that was brought up at the Budget Committee, that it was not clear. It looked like it was only going to cost $39,000 a year. So that paragraph is in, so it's 79, and that does it for me. I don't know how other people feel. But this was a question brought up at the Budget Committee, wanting us to make it clear.
Yeah, I think it should stay in one article myself, because if you separate them out into two separate articles, they approve one, not the other one, doesn't really help out the Public Works Department the way that we're intending it to be. was it going to be to have another person on there without a vehicle for him to go out there and take care of the roads or vice versa, get the vehicle and not the person, and then, you know, trying to scramble to figure out a way to put an operator in that. So to me, it makes sense to keep it as one article.
He did also state in his response to me that we could, if we wanted to do the two articles, make them contingent on one another. But it's your warrant, if you want, I can read this article, and I think it will clear it up.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Brian, you think it does it?
No, I think that this shows that it's one's contingent upon the other. I saw the confusion with the budget committee, but I think this clears it up.
Okay, good. Then can I have a motion?
Well, let me read it first. I haven't read it into the...
I'm ready to go.
I know. I hear you. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $139,600 in 2022 for the purpose of purchasing an additional one-ton truck equipped for winter road maintenance and summer and winter road maintenance. Further, to hire an additional full-time equipment operator effective. Got the wrong version. You finished reading that, Linda? I believe I have the wrong version.
Where did you get to? What was it? This full-time equipment operator shall be a member of the ASME collective bargaining unit. The costs for 2022 are estimates as follows: vehicle, $100,000; position with benefits, $39,600; total, $139,600. The next paragraph says, shall the town approve this article, the full-time equipment operator shall become part of the full operating budget within the Public Works Highway Division. The estimated increase for the 2023 operating budget will be $79,200, which includes base wage, payroll, tax, New Hampshire retirement system contribution, and insurance. The estimated tax impact for 2022 is 6 cents per thousand of estimated value.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, can somebody give me a motion?
Make a motion to recommend this article for 28.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Somebody else want to make the final motion?
I make a motion for, to move warrant Article 28, DPW truck and employees to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Jim, next one.
29, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the not-to-exceed amount of $250,000 for the purpose of constructing and installation of a design landscape plan on the property surrounding the library building, and to authorize the Wolfeboro Public Library Board of Trustees to expend this amount and accept donations and grants, and it will have no tax rate impact. Estimated tax rate impact 2022, 0 per thousand of assessed valuation. They have a donation that will be coming forward to do the work.
Anybody have any questions or concerns? Hearing none, can I have a motion?
Motion to recommend Board of Selectmen Article 29, library landscaping.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll make the motion, warrant Article 29, library landscaping, to be placed on the 2022 warrant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're getting into the capital reserve funds now. These go in the order of any new reserve funds first, and then in alphabetical order. Article 30, to establish a sidewalk capital reserve fund. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $75,000 to create a sidewalk capital reserve fund for the purpose of maintaining existing sidewalks. Said fund shall be under the custody of trustee of trust funds and and to designate the Board of Selectmen as agents to expend from this capital reserve fund. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 3 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Okay, and these, I'm just going to ask for the motions. We've been through them so many times. So can I have a motion on recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Who wants to make the next motion?
Establish a sidewalk capital reserve fund be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, here we go.
Jim, you want me to read some for you?
No, I'm good, thank you. Article 31, Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be added to the existing Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve Fund, which is under the custody of trustees of trust funds, with the selectmen designated as agents to expend this capital reserve fund. To be added to the existing Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund established for the purpose of making needed repairs and performing needed maintenance to town buildings, facilities. This capital reserve fund is under the custody of trustees of trust fund, with selectmen designated as agents to expend capital reserve fund. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 2 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
I have a motion.
Move to recommend Article 32, Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Who's going to read the next one?
Motion to move warrant Article 32, Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund, be placed in the 2022 warrant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Article 33.
Article 33, Dispatch Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the existing Dispatch Equipment Capital Reserve Fund for the purpose of replacement of the dispatch console and other related equipment, installation, and other related expenses, which is under the custody of the trustee of trust funds, with selectmen designated as agents to expend this capital reserve. Estimated tax rate impact 2022, 2 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Move to recommend Article 33, Dispatch Equipment Capital
Second.
Reserve Fund.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion, warrant Article 32, Dispatch Equipment Capital Reserve Fund to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
All those in favor?
I think it was Article 33. I heard 32.
33.
33.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Article 34, Dockside Parking Lot Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the existing Dockside Capital Reserve Fund, which is under the custody of the trustee of trust funds, with selectmen designated as agents to expend the funds in this capital reserve fund. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 4 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Do I have a motion?
Move to recommend Article 34,
For a
Dockside
second?
Parking Lot.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. I'll read the motion. Warrant Article 34, Dockside Parking Lot
Second.
Capital Reserve Fund to be placed on the 2022 warrant. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Getting close. Article 35, Fire Truck Apparatus Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $196,000 to be added to the existing fire truck and apparatus replacement capital reserve fund, which is under the custody of trustee of trust funds, with selectmen designated as agents to expend this capital reserve fund. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 8 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Move to recommend Article 35.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Motion, warrant Article 35, Fire Trucks and Apparatus, move to the 2022 warrant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Public Works Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum $185,000 to be added to the existing Public Works Vehicle Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, which is under the custody of the trustee of trust funds, with the selectmen designated as agents to expend this capital reserve fund. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 8 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Move to recommend Article 36.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Move the warrant Article 36, Public Works Vehicle and Equipment Capital Reserve to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
37, wastewater treatment plant capital reserve fund. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $175,000 be added to the existing wastewater treatment capital reserve fund under the custody of trustee of trust funds with selectmen designated as agents to expend this capital reserve fund. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 8 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
Recommend Article 37.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye. Motion warrant Article 37 wastewater treatment plant capital reserve fund be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
38, water resources non-capital reserve fund. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the existing non-capital reserve fund pursuant to RSA 35(1)(c) for the purpose of watershed management planning, including construction, engineering, design, permitting, best management practices for stormwater drainage and nutrient mitigation, grant matching, and education, which is under the custody of trustee of trust funds with agents with trust funds with selectmen as agents to expend from this non-capital reserve fund. Estimated tax rate impact for 2022, 2 cents per thousand of assessed valuation.
I'll make a motion to recommend. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Motion warrant Article 38 water resources non-capital reserve fund to be placed on the 2022 warrant.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we do not need to vote on the non-warrant articles. I only have one suggestion. I would like to move the fire truck apparatus and the public works capital reserve funds to right under the library landscaping. The reason I want to do that, I think those are two significant capital reserve funds, and sometimes as the people get going down the ballot, the board is comfortable, we can move those up. Does anybody have a problem with that?
Well, no, I don't have a problem with that, but I think that in these articles, we better have people going to ask, well, how much is in that fund now?
I'm assuming that that's going to be there.
Yeah, that'll be in the presentation that we're doing.
Okay.
I believe it's on the
I
20th.
just want to make sure we don't forget that.
Yep.
Jim, now I went through and did all the bolding. Are you going to add the bolding to the warrant articles?
Yep, for the presentation and for the town report, that is correct.
Correct. I went through and what I bolded was the amount and what it was for, and then if there was some donation or something stuck out. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Rooster Beach parking lot time change. When I talked to Brewster Academy regarding the lease, and Jim and I have also done some talking, the lease read as if we were just going to rent it lease it for the summer, and I said to him, no, we use it all year round. We use it in the winter. That's our access. They're concerned about being able to close off the beach after dark, and so they were suggesting that we change the curfew time from right now it says 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. to sunrise and sunset. And each day there is a time for sunrise and sunset. And I said, well, I didn't want to get them to put that into the lease until I found out how this board felt about it. So that's why I'm bringing it back to you. You know, the beach being open till 10 o'clock at night in the winter, they have a problem with it. And I said, well, that's going to cost us, you know, we're going to have staff to open it and close it, and they're willing to do the opening and closing.
Should probably get that out there, because if we're going to do that, especially with the ice fishermen coming off the ice at night, they'll need to know.
Do they come off at night?
They're out. Some of them stay out there pretty late, but you know, I think as long as they know, they can park on the opposite side of the gate and walk down.
Okay, yes, we can put a sign up.
Yeah.
Does that give you any trouble, sunrise, sunset?
No, ma'am. No, that'll be fine.
Okay,
Yeah, that's okay.
good. Is the board in agreement to putting that?
They're in agreement. They're in agreement.
That's what they would like.
The thing is, I just think in wintertime, I mean, we're, getting longer now, but it's around 4:30. I don't know what the actual sunset is now, around that time.
Do snowmobiles use that beach?
They can, yeah.
They
So what
park in the parking lot and go out on the ice.
So what happens if a snowmobile comes off the beach at night to a closed gate?
Well, it's a road.
Don't,
have some
they, and
problems.
they cross roads, they do all sorts of
I mean, right now, we have well, we're saying that, well, maybe we don't want them to close the gate. Maybe we want to do the time. I don't know. I think that they're uncomfortable as a school. They're not having any who comes on and off that beach. I can push back and say, we really do not want that. Right now, we don't shut the gate. Am I correct?
Correct. I mean, the only other thing that might be a possibility to do, have to do it next summer, kind of what they do along the rail trails is to create a smaller access point closer down to the beach to allow access into the parking lot. But I don't know. It sounds like based on what the board's saying, we've got more work that we may have to do.
I think sunset's too early.
Are they more concerned about it in the summer than they are in the winter?
No, the way the lease was written, it was only going to use it. Whoa, no. This is a significant space for us to get onto the lake. And so I'm not willing to write it. And then we got into the curfew. And they're concerned about not letting people wander up onto Rooster. We are having cameras. Our cameras are there 24 hours a day. Do you have a lot of problems down at Rooster Beach in the winter?
No, ma'am. No, we do not.
Okay.
We do not. But I think the point that Selectman Greenberg brought up is a good one, especially during ice fishing events. Typically, when we're not having some sort of event out on the ice or the lake or whatever the case may be, fishing derby or winter carnival or something, I'm really thinking that the sunrise to sunset should work because there's not a lot of activity. And folks, if they know that if they know that the gate is going to be closed, for example, they can access through the town docks. I know right now they're under construction, but there are other access points.
Yeah, Kingswood Golf Course.
Right, that's another one. They really can't go on Brewster Academy at this point because the campus is closed down essentially because of COVID-19. But we're not going to be in this pandemic forever, though it may seem like that. So there are other solutions here. I think the sunrise to sunset works. There is not a lot of activity in the wintertime down there to really speak of, and our activity is minimal.
Now, the parking lot is town property, correct?
That's right. This is trying to work out. We could say, no, we're not interested. We're not going to shut the grates. We plow it. That was the thing I was having. We plow that parking lot in snow. So, I mean, we can go back and say we don't want to shut the gate. We plow our parking lot, and we can put the curfew. We can put a curfew at that time. Yep, Brad?
Is there concern, I heard something said that concerns about people wandering up onto their campus from the beach?
Well, they're concerned about the schools.
Okay.
Seem to be, they're very concerned.
Could we have someone from Brewster come and speak on this?
We can. We're negotiating the lease. I am bringing the discussion. They asked me whether I'd bring to you this question. And so I'm bringing it. Jim and I can go back and talk to them, and then we'll get a lease. but I didn't want to say, oh, that's fine, go ahead and do it, because I had some questions myself, and I wanted to hear what the five of you wanted to do and what you think.
Yeah, just to, what I was getting at was if their concern was, wandering from the beach up onto the campus, was if we proposed to, at our expense, to put some kind of a gate along the edge of the beach or wherever that all trail accesses up onto where they do the fireworks and stuff. One area there to kind of close that off. So that's kind of the angle I was looking at. There was,
Okay.
there was an option to talk to them about.
Okay, so there's the question if their concern is access, that we put a gate in that wooded path.
Right.
Down by the water that goes up that way. And what we're saying is, what do you feel about shutting the gate?
Well, that's been open for too many years. All those fishermen get down there and they pack their trucks and trailers and go up by snowmobile. They want to block their campus off. I agreement to put some kind of fence up along their property. I don't have any issue with that. But to close it down, I don't think we should have any times, personally.
I know a lot of ice.
Because, I mean, the ice fishermen, I mean, they're out till midnight.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Some of them are out there all night.
Having bonfires and.
Some of them are out in their fish houses, don't want to drive.
We could still say curfew, though.
Well,
You can still at least keep the people moving. If they're passing through, it's one thing.
Yeah.
but I think we have a fine. I don't want to put a curfew on and have a fine and then, well, they said it didn't matter, We put this curfew on. So, we'll go, Jim, you and I'll have to go back. I think we're hearing no gate and really don't like curfew time.
We could do,
we have-
could we do no loitering from sunset till sunrise? Is that possible?
So yes, you could, on town property, yes, you can do that. You can post no loitering, and we can take action on that. And there's already a law relative to loitering. If you want to have a town ordinance, you want to craft a town ordinance, you can do that too. So that may not be a bad idea. I don't know if that solves the problem. That may help solve the problem, but I'm not sure if that solves the problem.
Well, I think that's a good suggestion for us to
It's a
take
great
back to them.
suggestion.
So we've got a couple of them, and we'll go get a reaction from them, and we'll bring it back to the board. That's why I brought it here, is because you people need to have a say. I was just being the conduit to get that, see
Is
if we
the
could get that.
camera working now? Is that already up down there?
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be up 24 hours.
So you have that at the PD? You can see it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to check on that. I'm not sure if we have eyes on Brewster Beach or not at this point. But
I was told by Christine that the camera was still on, and I think we have it also linked into Brewster.
I'll check on that.
Will you check on that? That's what
I will. I'll check on that, and I'll let the town manager know. Right now, we're monitoring so many cameras that I haven't seen it.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean it isn't on the second screen back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we
Yep.
can flip through them.
Yeah, because my understanding is the PD is supposed to have it, and also on Brewster campus, whoever's head of their security is supposed to be able to get it too. So we should check that both of those are working. Kevin Duffy. Okay, Jim and I will work on that some more, and we'll get back to the rest of you where we are on that. Code enforcement vehicle parking space, Jim?
Yeah, so I provided you a map of the parking lot. I'd like to be able to get a sign and dedicate a spot for the code enforcement vehicle, mainly for this time of year, so when they come through here to plow or salt, we can keep that vehicle parked out of the way for nights and weekends and whatnot. It's located out of the way so that it's easier for highway to plow. Just food for thought. I think it would make operations day-to-day easier so that on a busy day, there's still a parking space for a code enforcement officer to be able to continue to do his work.
I think that's a great spot. It's not really one of the spots, and people, probably is one that not many people use, and it gives him a place that he knows. Anybody have any other question?
I just
Brian?
have one question. While we're doing this, is there any other town employee that comes and goes in a regular basis like this that could also benefit from this?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Fair question, but no, I think the code enforcement vehicle is a primary individual who comes and goes very regularly.
Okay, I will make a motion that the board approve a parking space.
Do you have a question?
Code enforcement vehicle on the far side of the. In Jim's memo to the board, December 31st.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
I think Chief Rondo has some information for us.
Do you? Okay.
I do have a response. Yes, we have 2 functional cameras. We are watching from dispatch in the second screen, and they show the parking lot and the beach along with that area that you're concerned about. So yes, we do have 2 separate cameras that we can watch from dispatch.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. All righty. You received a packet of pictures. These are from Helen Fernal, and we need to look at our report. And I thought we could take a look at these. I think there also is a feeling that we might want to could also use the picture of us all happy on the dock saying a thank you to Dave Bowers. But I didn't know if there was any particular picture that somebody likes.
I really like number 7 myself. Front.
Of course, she'll give us this in, higher quality than what we're putting on
That's
here.
fine.
The other one I like, but it doesn't show up as good here, but when I had it on my computer, this was a real nice look at the town docks, dockside, and the downtown from an angle that you usually don't see it from. And I like this one also.
I like to see this one for the front, and we usually have one on the back.
Okay.
That's what I would pick.
Okay, Brad, I'll give you all a second to kind of through these.
Yeah, I like that. I like number 7. That's a very nice picture.
Yeah.
The one that caught my eye was number 4 also. Foliage, the fall one with a tree in front of the side.
Oh, yeah, I was just looking at that too, yeah.
Just
Another one.
nice fall pictures and nice.
I like 4. I like 7. I also like 8 too. I think 8 goes in the back, or yeah. Like 8.
Yeah, I think 8.
Color the sky.
Yeah. I mean,
I like 7. That would be my first choice
You said
on the
8.
cover.
But you said 8 shows up on your computer a lot brighter and stuff. You see a lot.
oh, yeah, it looks really neat.
You see the town hall is in this.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice angle. It just this picture doesn't do it justice really.
No, it does not. I was disappointed seeing it because the dock area is visible. Maybe I can get a good print of it. Maybe that's the next thing I should try to do is see if we can get a good.
From behind the, I'm sure.
It's from the Windrifter dock.
A Windrifter, okay.
Yeah, that's where she takes it
Oh, yeah,
from.
there's the other docks over there.
So it kind of, what I like about it is it's an angle we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
And last year we did the pilings and we did this look at downtown.
Yep.
Right there. And the year before we just did Pat Waterman. So,
I'll move.
I didn't
the
ask
7
Brian.
and 8.
Brian likes it.
I'm partial to summer and winter.
Fix the ones no one's talked about.
Well, this is winter.
Yeah.
You know what I like about this is, got kind of Christmas, but then in the background we see your construction of the docks. And which is a project we've got going.
I like
The
summer
other
and
thing.
winter. I don't
Have
care.
Luke standing in the,
No, we don't. Have them on top of the gazebo. All righty. Does anybody want to make a motion as to what we do, or would you like me to see if I can get this in a,
I make a motion that Linda picks the pictures.
oh, good. Oh, good, guys.
I'll do better than that. I'll make a motion that we use picture number 7 and 8 if we can get a good resolution of it.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I will get a better picture. I'll take it off my computer, put it on the drive, and bring it into town hall. All right. Then we also have to do, I wrote, and I mean, I just threw this thing together, was the annual report. And we've been writing them as, and now I don't, as a group, and I did the first draft on it. Does anybody want to, is there anything that's not in that draft that somebody would like to add for the year? And does anybody want to take, I mean, this is a draft. There's some sentences you're probably going to want to reword or do anything. Does anybody want to proof it?
The only word I saw there, I just throw this out for discussion here, the front page here, down the bottom where John Burt resigned as town treasurer. We want to put resigned or retired. Does it sound like, resigned, sounds like you might have a problem with the town or whatever there. Retired meaning just...
Did I say that?
No, I don't think you did.
I just know if it's throwing it out there.
You want to add retired? That's fine with me.
I don't know.
Does anybody want to take this, go over, proof
Yeah,
it?
I haven't read it.
You want to go over, proof it, take care of all the grammar of it? I mean,
You're
literally.
asking me to do grammar stuff?
Nah. I don't want to, I just, does anybody want to do the final proof of it, since it is a joint? I'll have, how about Dave and Brad work on it? Maybe you two to work on it?
I'll do a final proof of it if you want.
Okay, I will email it to you in Word,
Okay, yep.
all right?
Okay.
And I'll email it to you, Brian and Dave, and you guys can go at it. All right,
I'll have a little assistance. My wife's an English major.
good. Oh, you know what we didn't do? Assign warrant articles. And for the deliberative session.
Thought you were doing.
That's above my pay range. So I'm just going to go down. Does anybody, who would like to do the Pop Whalen renovations?
I will.
Seasonal water line replacements?
Sure.
Dockside upgrade, I will do that. The committee. Port Woodland drainage,
Sure.
that's Brad. Okay. Sewer pump station upgrade,
Oh, you have mine, that's why.
you gave it to me.
Yeah.
What was the one you had?
Sewer pump station upgrade, Lanner Street. I'll do that. I'll do both of them. Two of them.
You want to do the Mill Street? I have no idea where I put it.
Lanner and Mill.
Okay, Luke and Luke. Okay, so Luke has 4, so we've got to get it out to some other people. Water main upgrade,
Me.
Brian, good. There.
I wish I had a volunteer.
Have one that doesn't have your things
That's
on.
fine.
All right?
There we,
I know I have it somewhere in this paper.
that's fine.
When you get to it, I'll take solid waste.
Okay, operating budget, we don't have it. ASME contract, Dave?
I'll do that.
Electric reconstruction, Turtle Island,
Sure.
Brad. Bridge Falls light replacement, I'll do that one. Sewer pump station laner, that was, Luke, you're going to do that one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Public safety building construction, Dave, should that be you?
Yeah.
Historic district, I think they should do that.
Yeah. Maggie
Okay.
or somebody.
Town road upgrades,
Yeah, do town
Brad?
roads.
water line upgrade,
I'll do that.
solid waste is Brian. Public, Department of Public Works, truck and employee. Library, landscaping, that's going to be them. Establish a sidewalk capital reserve, Brian.
Yep.
Abenaki Capital Reserve, Luke. Building Maintenance Capital Reserve, Dave. Dispatch,
Got it.
Brian. Dockside Parking Lot Capital Reserve, I'll do that one. Fire truck apparatus, Ed. Public Works Vehicle,
That one too.
Wastewater Treatment Plant Capital Reserve,
That goes with sewers.
Okay, I'll do it.
and I'll do the Water Resource Non-Capital Reserve.
How many you have?
Okay?
I got 5.
Spread them out pretty good.
Boy, I'm glad I remembered. All right. Right, the dedication.
Yeah.
All right, you want to read them off, Dave?
Well, we got Joe Balboni. He was a former police commissioner. Thomas Levitt. He was a huge part, obviously, in coaching a lot of the kids that are still around here.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Antonucci, pretty instrumental with Pop Whalen and a lot of the kids still growing up.
I think there was conversation of us dedicating the Dave Bowers. Then I would do a memorial for each.
Yep.
Like that.
They're
Does it-
significant, all three of them.
And dedicate and then have 3 memorials, because we did that one other year. We had done that.
I wonder if we could name something at the new Pop Whalen rink for Fred Antonucci. The penalty box, maybe.
Well, they,
Yeah, this is this one we did it. We did last
Or
year
locker
with all
room?
those. I think that
Something.
dedicate and then we'll put them in there. Everybody okay with that?
I played with him.
All right. Other business? I would like to do a couple other business. Well, one, I was last night Wolfeboro. On December 31st, we had just about 500 people. Our big event, which is always, we had 205 up in this building to watch wildlife encounters. We had 134 who saw Dance Expressions do their dance on the stage. It was great. We ran while events were happening in here. Community TV put on Just Bob and Marla. There were a number of plays by Rooster Academy. They had, and then the programs that were going on here, they had live. They had a magician, Yukariki. They did the Freeze Band Big Band. So as people were able to come in person, we were also running events virtually. We ran our bingo virtually. The Girl Scouts did just a fantastic escape house down at the railroad station. And I'd like to read out our sponsors, because without the sponsors and the businesses in town, we wouldn't be able to put this together. Black's Paper Store was our largest donor, Avery Insurance, Hunter's Shop and Save, Kevin Lawler's, Edward Jones, the Wind Drifter, Yum Yum Shop, the Wright Museum, the Boat Museum, Molly the Trolley, Rooster Academy, Wolfeboro Park and Rec, and definitely Community TV for putting that all on for us. So we had a successful COVID event.
And
Alrighty.
And I'd like to thank Linda for all the hard work she did on it and for the fireworks.
Yes, fireworks did go off.
And they were beautiful. I saw them.
Well,
We were
thank
watching
you.
them.
Well, you can thank me and Brenda LaJoy, Maria Found, and Christine Collins. The four of us were the ones. Does anybody else have any other business? Hearing none, we'll move on to committee reports. I think I'll start down this end.
All I've had is lots of budget meetings. Many, many, many. And actually, they've gone very, very smoothly, I thought.
Yeah, they have. There'll be a lot of us who will be glad we aren't going out to another budget committee meeting. It's a long November and December with being out a number of nights that we are.
And it was upbeat that the budget committee was actually very happy with the budget.
They were, yes, yeah.
It wasn't anything that I expected.
Well, good. Luke?
We had a police commission meeting. Actually brought it up today. It was a coffee with the chief, 97 years old. 87. She brought in blankets, homemade blankets for the whole police department, Claire Nash, and for the fire department.
Oh,
Made
nice.
it, does
Very
one
nice.
a week, and presented them to the chief. It was really nice that somebody thought that highly of the department and really cares. That's what a small town is. So it was nice to see.
Exactly, we're a town that takes care of each other, for sure. Cares about each other. All right, do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. I joined Brian for 3 budget committee meetings. I had a Friends of Pop Whalen meeting. I met with Bruce regarding the lease, which is what I brought to you tonight. I had an EDC meeting, and I spent a lot of time on last night, Wolfeboro.
I had none. I was lucky,
You were lucky.
very.
Brad?
Last night, we had a planning board meeting. Taylor Home came in for building a new salt sand storage shed up at their Sugar Hill facility, and also an addition onto their maintenance building up there. That was it for me.
Okay.
As you mentioned, budget committee meetings, just to tie up the warrant article discussion, last year, our warrant articles, the cash warrant articles we asked for was 96 cents. This year is 84.3 cents. So we're down a little bit on that, but our operating budget is up fairly significantly. Public hearing on that budget is next week. And remember, we've got a bond hearing as well next week relative to Pop Whalen. Couple other items to report out on. Parks and Recreation. At one of the budget meetings, Budget Committee unanimously supported purchasing a pickup truck under the 2021 budget and removing it from the 2022 proposed budget. So we were able to order a pickup truck that meets their needs under the 2021 budget for $35,074. So that is on order. The Solid Waste Department has had a failure of the plastics baler, so for the time being, they are not going to be accepting plastics as recyclables. Not sure what the time frame of that repair is going to be, but it's fairly significant. And lastly, I just want to report out regarding the tree downtown. As you were made aware, at the 28th meeting, we were approached by the fire marshals or by the state electrical inspector regarding shutting the tree off. We made the decision to shut the tree off on the 28th, thinking that it was in the interest of safety. We did that. There was some individuals who wanted to light the tree, so they went ahead and lit the tree. They secured a lift. They used the lift to get to the wires and hooked up a generator. I was approached just previous to this happening to be advised of it. At the same time, I had another person come into my office, and then we looked out and saw the tree was lit. I assembled myself, the code enforcement officer, the fire chief, a rep from Municipal Electric, and a police officer. We convened in my office. We discussed the plan going forward. We went down to the site. We determined that the generator was probably not the best solution. It was not GFI protected, which was one of the major problems that the state electrical inspector had. And there was some concern from blacks about the odor. So the individuals worked with the fire chief and the code enforcement officer. They were able to run an extension cord for the night of the 31st over to Bradley's and tie it into a GFI outlet. The discussion that I had with the individuals who did it was that everything needed to be disconnected the next morning, which they did. Real problem with the fact that they went up near those power lines. That's the biggest problem that I had. I also advised them that they really should have come to our office and have a conversation with us at town hall about it. At the end, I think we made a decision that worked for the community, and tie that up, we did request $12,000 in funding in the 2022 proposed budget, which was recognized by the budget committee as a capital outlay to upgrade that system next year with new lights and an approved electrical service. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Questions?
Press? Aha. Any questions from the public? Beautiful. Can I have a motion to go into non-public? Yes, I'm done.
Second.
All those, yes?
Yes.
Yes, 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 okay.